Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways, Torah Life Ministries.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries, and we are reading this coming week's Torah Parashah. We're up to Parashah number 46, which is Deuteronomy 7:12 to 11:25. And it's getting better and better, folks. This week it says, right off the bat in Deuteronomy 7:12, it says, because you are listening to these rulings, keep and obeying them, Yahweh your Elohim will keep with you the covenant and the mercy he swore to your ancestors. He will love you, bless you, and increase your numbers. He will also bless the fruit of your body and of your ground. So we look right here, and it goes again that we've been seeing in all of the Torah portions. If we obey his instructions, his covenant with us is that he will bless us. And now it's going on to say not only us, he'll bless everything around us. The ground where our crops are grown. Every endeavor we decide to partake in, as long as it's his will, we will be blessed. I cannot stress the importance, because listening to the rulings and keeping and obeying them. So there's three things we need to do. We need to listen to them, because the only way we can understand them is if we listen to them. But then we are told to keep and obey them. To keep and obey them. Well, keeping them and being obedient to them always is what we're called to do. Those are the three things we're called to do. Listening, so we understand. Keep, and obey consistently throughout our lives. And that's how we'll be blessed. Now, at Torah Life Ministries, we teach a lot about health and disease. And, it says right here how to avoid disease. It says, even if you're sick, it says in Exodus 7:15, Yahweh will remove all illness from you and not afflict you with any of Egypt's dreadful diseases which you have known. Instead, he will lay them on those who hate you. But for that to happen, what has to happen is you must keep, obey, and listen to his rulings. And that is the outcome. So from a health standpoint, that's the answer right there. Yes, you could look at medicine, you could run to doctors, and you could try to do all these natural therapies and so on. But it says right here that Yahweh will remove all illness from you and will afflict anything that on your enemies that you once knew of, when you start to listen, keep, and obey my mitzvahs, my commandments. So we have to understand, it also tells us this week, it says that, there are many other forces out there and many other people out there, and you can look at it from a spiritual standpoint, all the evil forces, all the way down to the human standpoint. You see the people with all the money and the corporations and everything else. But we have a warning here in Scripture. And it is a commandment. It says you are not to be frightened by them. The only fear we should have, folks, is the fear of Yahweh, and he will bless us with everything we need and give us everything that he desires for us to have. But he goes on to say in this week's reading, don't be greedy for silver and gold. You can't take it with you. If you try to do that, you'll be trapped. And what are people doing today? They're saying the money system is not real, it's not good, and it's going to go down the drains, and they're trying to bury gold and silver in a yard and stuff. Well, it's the same thing. They're trying to place some monetary value on something that means absolutely nothing to us. For everyone out there that says money, that loses its value and it's just paper and it doesn't mean anything, well, gold is just a piece of scrap metal that only has any value because some man has given it some value. Yahweh said the real value comes in trusting me and keeping my Torah and accepting Yeshua as your Messiah, and that's how he will bless you. Doesn't matter how much gold or silver you have buried somewhere, folks. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your pocket or the bank account. What matters is how faithful you are to Yahweh and where your heart is with him. And that's true richness. There was something very interesting in this week's reading in Deuteronomy. We're heading back. There's something very interesting in this week's reading in Deuteronomy 7:26. It says, don't bring something abhorrent into your house, or you will share the curse that is on it. Instead, you are to detest it completely. And this was very interesting to me, because I have a lot of friends, and I'm not saying this is the case with everybody, but they go to Israel and they go to Sodom and Gomorrah, where it used to be, and the ashes remain there, and they actually bring home these coal stones or these ashes of the remains of Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah was a curseful situation. It wasn't a blissful thing. And this one fellow I was talking to said he had just terrible tragedies in his life. And then when he finally realized the tragedy started when he came back from Israel with that artifact from Sodom and Gomorrah, and he finally got that out of his house, everything changed and he started to get blessed again. I found that amazing because I see a lot of people going there on these tourist trips and they bring these things back with them. And it says right here, I mean, I can't say that's going to happen to everybody or has happened to everybody, but this fellow shared that with me, and it says here again, Deuteronomy 7:26, don't bring these things into your house, or we will share in the curse. That's part of that. So, in Deuteronomy 8, it goes on to say, in Deuteronomy 8, it says that Yahweh is humbling and testing us. Why? To know our heart. To know our heart. You see, the rest of the world might see our actions, but Yahweh sees our heart. So, if we don't come in first place in the world, we can take that as a failure. And we're not a winner. We're not the champion. But Yahweh doesn't care what place we come in. Yahweh sees our heart and He sees our effort. That's what He cares about. And our heart has to go along. He will provide if He wants us to be in first place or last place. That's up to Him. But our heart must be there. The effort must be there. And people always ask me, where in the scriptures does it talk about, fruits and vegetables and good health being a blessing? Well, it says if your heart is in the right place, it says, and you obey my mitzvahs and commandments, Yahweh will bring you into the good land, a land with streams and springs and water welling up from the depths of the valley on the hillside. So He's talking about what good land is. I recently met somebody that has over 200 acres of land, but they don't have any water on their land, so the land is useless. I mean, literally useless, without any water on the land. And it says, it is a land of wheat and barley, grapevines, fig trees, pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, where you will eat food in abundance and lack nothing. So you'll be able to eat and be satisfied. We are called to grow fruit trees, and we need water to grow fruit trees. Without this water, these trees aren't going to grow. And through rain, Yahweh can provide water anytime. But He says the good land will have the wells and the springs and the streams. And if we don't pollute them, then we'll be able to use that clean water and grow wonderful, blessful things and the fruits to eat. So we will eat well and always be satisfied. Okay, but it goes on to talk about to be careful here, and it's another warning, and that's, folks, what the Torah here is. It's a big warning, and it warns us. It says, be careful that you understand and you always give thankfulness to Yahweh for this. And this is what we mean by when He said we're going to look at your heart. Be careful and always give thankful to Yahweh, and don't say you did this under your own power, or you'll become proud-hearted, forgetting Yahweh and what Yahweh has done for you. And this is just something that has happened. In the Torah portion, the 40 years that the children were left Egypt and were in the desert, they kept forgetting what Yahweh has done, and they became proud and thought they did the things that were successful under their own power and their own strength. But no, it was all Yahweh. It says here in Deuteronomy 8:19, if you forget Yahweh, your Elohim, and follow others, gods, and serve them, worship them, I am warning you in advance today that you will certainly perish. You will perish like all the nations Yahweh has caused to perish ahead of you, because you will not have heeded to the voice of Yahweh Elohim. Well, the bottom line is we're all going to perish here in our earthly bodies eventually, but it says you will perish like those other people. You will perish like the disobedient. Those disobedient perished in a different way than we perish here, the obedient ones. There's no peace or comfort in the heart of those that are disobedient to His word. Those that are obedient to His word, yes, we perish from our earthly body, but we do so with a peace that you can only feel if you have Yahweh's Spirit within you. Now, there's the everlasting life that is to come to those who are believers, and we won't perish. But as for perishing here, there is a difference of ways to going. And it's not about just how long you can live and the quality of your life. It comes out to the peace you're at and the peace you're in. It says in Deuteronomy 9:1, listen, Israel, you are to cross the Jordan today and go in and dispose nations greater and stronger than you, and cities fortified up to the sky. He tells us not to be scared because Yahweh has blessed us and He wants this to happen because He gave us the instruction to do this. And then He says, after all of this is done, after you're rewarded, The descendants of these places are pushed out. It goes on to say, don't think to yourself that you did this under your own strength. No, it is because of these nations were so wicked that Yahweh is driving them out ahead of you. So if we become just as wicked of those nations, he's going to drive us out as well. This is why he does these things. When the Israelites came into the promised land, it was over 400 years since Abraham had been there. And he promised Abraham, this is going to be your land. So those people had over 400 years to know that the Israelites were coming to get right with his word. But because they were so wicked, he drove them out ahead of the Israelites. Or at least that was his plan if the Israelites would have obeyed. But there was one that listened, Rahab, a prostitute. But she obeyed and she was saved. So it doesn't matter, folks, what part of the community you're from, where you're from, what nation you're from. If you observe and obey and you don't do wicked things, he will not drive you out of your land, and he will not put the same curses on you and the disease upon you that he's put upon the disobedient. But if you stick to his word, he will bless you abundantly and he will save you. But let's look at the fact, folks. It says here, he says, you are a stiff-necked people. And that's one thing you definitely don't want Yahweh thinking about you, because he sees your heart. And if he sees you're stiff-necked, you're in trouble, And Moses was on the mountain for 40 days. 40 days with no food, and didn't come down until he started to get hungry. But he was up there for 40 days, but when it was time for him to come down, maybe it wasn't time for him to come down. Yahweh said, hurry and get out of here, because your people are committed wickedness. See, Yahweh knew all along the wicked people would be driven out of the land, so how could he give the land to people that aren't following his ways? They're just as wicked as those other people. So he tried to send Moses to stop them and help them, but we see here, since nobody survived that came out of Egypt and went into the promised land, we see here that the people weren't listening and they weren't going to listen. So it goes on to say here in Deuteronomy 11:1, Yahweh your God will always, it says, therefore you are to love Yahweh your Elohim and always obey his commandments, regulations, rulings, and mitzvahs. Now when we go back earlier to what we just read, you're to listen, keep, and obey. And here it says that you are to obey his regulations, rulings, and mitzvahs, the commandments. So over and over again it says this, and it says what we need to be doing. And then it says here that, moving on, there's so much in this week's Torah portion. We can go on and on for such a long time, and I might just start making these longer because people are enjoying these. It says here in Deuteronomy 8:13, so if you listen carefully to my mitzvahs, which I'm giving you today, and love Yahweh your Elohim and serve him with all your heart and your being, then I will give you land, its rain, its right season, including early in the fall, olive oil, and I will give you fields of grass for your livestock, with the result that you will eat and be satisfied. And that sums it up perfectly this week. We're to listen, obey, and keep, and he will bless us with the streams, the wells, and the water that we need to have wonderful crops and grass for our cattle to eat, so we can have great food and we can be satisfied. And that's it. And we have to understand it, and we have to keep that. So it couldn't get more clear. And it says in the scriptures that there are many things that are hidden, and on Yahweh's time they'll be revealed. There are things that only he knows right now. But he has revealed enough to us to know that we are to be obedient to his word, always and forever. And it's not difficult to keep my commands. It will not be difficult to do. But in today's world, it'll definitely be a challenge. But we do it with a joy and a peace that no non-believer can ever feel. So, folks, he's revealed so much to us. So many people try to look for the things he hasn't revealed to us. Well, we need to start focusing on the things he has revealed to us and start obeying those before we even look at the things that he hasn't revealed to us or trying to figure those out. He will reveal these things to us when we are ready, when it's his will for us to know these things. But we're not even close to ready if we're not doing the things that he has revealed to us. All right, everybody, I would love your comments and questions. Please post them below the videos here. Post them below this video. And we have some other great videos coming up this week. And study this week's Torah Parashah so you're ready for the teaching on next Shabbat. Until then, everybody, have a great day and shalom, shalom.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways.